Hello there, this is Fortune. Thank you so much for joining me on this broadcast today. Thank you so much for liking the page as you come in. Do invite and do share the broadcast. I would appreciate it very much as you comment, you like and share the broadcast as well as the page. Thank you so much. Today we're going to get right into it because there's a lot of content that I want to cover, but I wanted to revisit a topic that we last spoke about, and that topic was, in what way are we sabotaging our relationships? So I will be asking certain questions and or making certain statements. Please do comment whether you agree with me or not. Maybe you've got even other comments or other examples on how one could be sabotaging their relationship, and this could be inspiring or a much needed advice for somebody else who wants to really do an introspection about themselves and better themselves in a relationship. So we're going to be looking at various questions. We're going to recap probably. If you recall, I did have speakers on the platform who were looking at this subject. However, we had to cut the broadcast short and we didn't get to finish all the questions that we wanted to ask them. But I thought it good for me to come back and share the content in its whole completeness so that we can have a chat just amongst ourselves. So very quick off the bat, if you recall the first one, we said if you're the type of person that is always looking for an exit, you really need to check yourself. If you're the kind of person that you are in a relationship and your partner wants to take the relationship to the next level, that your partner wants commitment. However, you are nervous and subconsciously you try to sabotage it by looking for a way out. You're looking for all sorts of reasons why you shouldn't be taking those steps that demonstrate your commitment. For example, if your partner wants to introduce you to their family members, but you're not ready and you keep on making excuses, I think we shouldn't string people along, and we should really check ourselves on that. Another kind of person that is always self-sabotaging their relationship is the kind of person that holds grudges. People who hold grudges against their partner, they should really do an introspection and say, what is this? How is this benefiting me as an individual? Because it's like drinking poison, for yourself. It's like you're holding on to this type of anger inside of you. You stay angry and you don't let go of things. You should really check yourself, because if you hold grudges, inherently you are self-sabotaging, because the purpose of a grudge basically is to keep people at bay. You're not solving anything by holding grudges, against somebody that you profess to love. So if I say I love you, what good is it that I hold a grudge against you and not speak to you? I think communication should really be open. Okay. Are you the kind of person that is always dismissive of their partner, telling them that they are crazy or they don't make sense and all those things? I think you shouldn't dismiss people's emotions when they're trying to express themselves to you, and it's sort of like you invalidate their experiences. Are you the kind of person that is paranoid? Paranoia is one of the signs of self-sabotage. If you become paranoid and your partner feels like they're doing nothing wrong, this will cause them to become suspicious of you. You can't always be just suspicious all the time. All right. And if you're a kind of person that is a perfectionist, perfectionists are always looking constantly at the imperfections of people. You criticize everything that they do. They never feel like they can be good enough for you. They can never feel like they can ever do anything that's enough for you. And if you're not careful, that kind of feeling can quickly turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy where they feel like they're never good enough for you. So stop trying to be a perfectionist. If you are not 100% committed, you need to ask yourself whether you're not self-sabotaging. You're not 100% into the relationship. It's like you're hedging your bets. You're waiting for the next big thing, the next good thing. You're sort of like whiling away time with this current person. Another type of person who self-sabotages is the person who's always comparing their partner with their exes. You always compare your relationship against others, especially the ones that you've had long-term relationships, even short-terms even, It's really a dangerous game. If your current relationship isn't as good as your last one, you will always have something negative to say. So you really need to check yourself whether or not you really need to be in that relationship. If your expectations are too high, when you begin to have unrealistic expectations of your partner, you are setting them up to fail. When they inevitably fail you, it will confirm your suspicion and you will be blaming them that they are to blame for the failure of the relationship. Meanwhile, you are the one that had these expectations which you never communicated, because people should really be given a chance to say whether or not they can meet up to your expectations or not. Play open cards. Okay? So you must set healthy boundaries and you must have realistic expectations from the beginning and be clear about it. Next, if you're the kind of person that is always lying to yourself about how happy you are, those kind of person, when you ask them, how are you? I'm fine. You never talk about your true feelings. If you feel hurt in the relationship, you're always lying about how you're actually feeling. The worst person to lie to is yourself. And we often do this as human beings, that we always lie to ourselves. You know, sometimes we are so much in love with the idea of being in a relationship. Meanwhile, we overlook whether we are actually compatible with the person that we are in a relationship with, right? We've got this illusion that we are in a healthy relationship because we choose not to see the bad things in a person, the alarm bells that go off that, for example, will tell you that you're in a relationship with an abusive person. Because often I believe that alarm bells ring right at the beginning. We just in love with the idea of being in love. We're in love with the idea of the wedding. We don't see beyond. We don't see that a relationship carries with it so many other responsibilities and expectations, but we choose to see the now in a vacuum. We choose to see the now in a myopic view. And we really need to check ourselves there and not just look at the surface. You know, if you are already seeing problems at the beginning, ask yourself, probe deeper, because just because you ignore a problem doesn't mean it will go away. You have to address what you see. The next one that I would say you must look at is if you're the kind of person who assumes you're on the same page. Don't assume anything. I think part of communication is making sure that you are actually clear what page you're on, which journey are you traveling, what is the destination that you are both going in. It would be a sad case that you're just traveling this journey and then you suddenly realize along the route that, man, I'm actually lonely. I'm single, but I'm in a relationship. Many people they usually assume that their partner understands their thoughts or their intentions, and it's rarely the case. They're not mind readers. Don't assume. Make sure that your intentions behind your words and your actions are clear. If you're feeling rejected, communicate that. Otherwise, your partner is going to read that as if you are being mad or moody. So communicate exactly what is the feeling that you're having. Are you cheating? You're cheating. You're having an affair. You're stepping outside of marriage. You're stepping outside of a relationship. It's a way of sabotaging your relationship because you're not really invested in it. It's a violation of the commitment that you have made to a person, because when you decide to be in a monogamous relationship and you go out and cheat, you violated the commitment and you violated that trust, and it's difficult to rebuild trust. Not everybody is fortunate enough to be forgiven and everything is just swept away. If you're the kind of person that is always taking things personally, I would encourage you not to be that kind of person. Because when you take everything personally in a relationship, it makes everything about you rather than your partner or the relationship. Relationships are giving. You have to think of the other person. Can't always be about you. Not everything, not every statement that is being said is all about you. A relationship is about two committed people who are ready to give of themselves selflessly to each other. Taking things personally will result in you guys fighting all the time, it will result in a lot of conflict, and you will have serious communication problems, and that will push you apart. If you are the kind of person that is always feeling like you're the victim in all your fights, sometimes we really need to get to the point of maturity where we're saying to ourselves, you know what, I'm very clear about what we are discussing, what is the issue of disagreement. Don't just go off on a pity party, and start crying and start playing the victim. Articulate your issues clearly. If you're not ready, and I know us as women, we tend to be very emotional. We will be saying so many things that the guy is not actually even clear what the fight is really about. And then we start crying because we're just feeling helpless. Or if you are feeling like I'm losing the argument and you just suddenly start playing the victim, that's not on. I don't know what your script is. I don't know what you normally say when you get into those compromising positions. Sorry, excuse me. Are you the kind of person that is always late? I don't know the kind of people that you might be dating, for example, but if you're the kind of person that is always showing up late, it really irks some people. Some people really get annoyed with that. I know that I'm one person that, I always say God is still working on me when it comes to time issues. But I think if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody who values time, you must make the effort. When you don't keep small promises like time, if you're dating somebody with OCD or something like that, you're going to be in big trouble. Keep the small promises, whether it's calling, whether it's texting, or whether it's being on time. Those things matter. They really pile up and they matter to people. Don't sabotage your relationship by missing an appointment all the time, or you were supposed to call back and you didn't call back. Those things hurt people. And you will be sabotaging yourself of a great relationship. Who knows? Maybe that person was the one. For you, 10 minutes is not a big deal, but for somebody else, it says you don't value their time. Next, if you're the kind of person that is always tearing yourself down, this is a classic case of self-sabotaging yourself. You suffer from lowest self-esteem and you project that low self-esteem onto your partner. You project those feelings of self-loathing. A person gives you a compliment and say, honey, you look beautiful today. You say, oh, me? Oh, no. I look so fat. I've got all these tires around me. Listen, take the compliment. But if you're always going to be expressing that low self-esteem, low self-loathing, the guy is going to actually start believing that and is going to start seeing those imperfections that you keep on accentuating. You will eventually force your partner to accept what you're saying, and they will even adopt your opinion of yourself, your low opinion of yourself, how you see yourself. They will adopt that because they will say, this is how they're always feeling. If you're the kind of person that is always wanting to control your partner, be careful. And here I'm talking about jealousy. You want to control your partner. You're always jealous. Jealousy, you want to control them. That is the number one powerful way of sabotaging the relationship. There is a healthy line, and I don't know where it is, but I hope you find it, where you can express to a person that you're valuable to me. I don't want to lose you. And I'm cognizant of the fact that there are other people who may be attracted to you, but there is a line that you should not cross, because sometimes it just gets way too much. If your partner is in the public sphere, for example, stop being so jealous. Not every woman wants to talk to them, and at some level, you need to get to a point where you trust each other. And you need to understand that, people, for instance, who are in leadership, for example, they will be in the vicinity of the opposite sex. And it doesn't mean that they're going to go and cheat. Because if you're always thinking you're going to be cheated on, I think you need to check yourself and find out why you feel like that. Why do you think holding on to them and controlling them all the time will guarantee that they will be with you forever. Be careful of such a thing. If you're the kind of person that is always saving your energy for everybody else except your partner, you've got time to go out with your friends, you've got time to go out with your family members, you've got time to do everything for your boss, for your family members, for your pastor, for your church people, or anybody. But when it comes to your partner, you're suddenly just tired. You're putting other things, work, children, ahead of your relationship. That is a common way to lose your partner, definitely. You're doing everything. You're an excellent mom. We commend you for that. But show up in the bedroom. Do that, what you need to do, right? Do the chukuluku. Do everything. Show up with energy. Don't be so energy sapped all the time. Because if you don't celebrate your partner, he will be celebrated outside, or she will be celebrated outside. What you fail to celebrate will eventually deteriorate. If you don't appreciate them, it will eventually deteriorate. So when you neglect to prioritize your relationship, you are doomed. That relationship is doomed for failure. Yes, there are times you need to put other things first. Yes, you need to go to work and all those things. Yes. But you need to make sure that they are often getting the best parts of you, because that is your support mechanism. That is your support foundation. They shouldn't just always experience the tired side of you or the cranky person that they get at the end of the day. When you come back from work, you've got a whole long list of complaints of everything that you want to talk about. Just take a chill pill and slow down a bit. Next one. Are you the kind of person that is always bringing up the past all the time? You're always bringing up the past. Always bringing up the past. You have been through a challenging moment in the past, a traumatic time in the past. You don't have to bring that up all the time. It doesn't mean that your experiences this time is going to be the same. People are different. Okay? People are different. So if you're going to be in this relationship, be present in this relationship, do this relationship, do this person. If you keep on holding on to the past and not letting go, it will catch up with you and the person will be too tired. When you're always angry, you remember, you are like the rest. They also did this to me. So-and-so also did this to me. Take a chill pill. Okay. Then this next one is, are you the kind of person that is an addict, whether it is drinking alcohol, whether you're smoking? There's just certain excesses that you shouldn't really gravitate towards. It's a turn-off. Yes, you might say, I met him like that or I met her like that. Listen, these things are a turn-off. When you get to the bedroom junction, there are certain smells that just don't go well. I hope nobody who's listening to this broadcast is using drugs or anything, but be very sensitive of the smells that you have and the smells that you even inflict by drinking or whatever. Remember, it's the same thing, like a simple thing like, do you have onion breath? Be mindful of your partner. Don't sabotage yourself through silly things like that. And then this one is, you're the kind of person that uses silent treatment. Why do you want to use silent treatment? And I know I'm probably guilty at this. There's nothing as effective as silence. And I know a lot of people would say women like nagging, women like shouting and everything, but you numb a person by silence. But the silent treatment does not always augur well for good relationships. It will sabotage your relationship if you don't communicate. They can't read your mind all the time. If you get to the point where you feel you've given it your best and you have shown them that you don't like something in particular, or they keep on crossing a particular boundary, rather you step out instead of just, playing the silent treatment and hoping the thing will solve itself. Okay. So, yeah, let's move on. If you're the kind of person that is lying all the time, you tell a lot of little lies. You tell a lot of lies. Some people think, oh, I was with my friends, and you were not really with your friends. You think, it doesn't matter. It might not be a material thing at that point, but those things where it was not necessary for you to lie about your whereabouts or about who you were with, you end up becoming a chronic liar, and people will pick that up, and it will be a big turn off. Okay? Lying really has no place in a relationship. If you value honesty and trust, give it to the next person. Give it to the next person. Stop lying. Okay. If you're the kind of person that always keeps lists of the faults that your partner has, you have a mental list of all, their faults, and you keep on, almost like referring back to it again and again and again, it will sabotage your relationship. Constantly focusing on the negative. You don't help me with the dishes. You don't help me with cleaning. You don't help me with this. Da, 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 da. Let's reevaluate. I'm not saying those things are not issues, but have a chat when the time is right. Don't let things pile up and you keep them as a list. And whenever they do something and they're at fault or do something wrong, you now regurgitate the entire list. Are you the kind of person that is always picking a fight? Picking a lot of fights, little fights, big fights. You always want to argue, You don't always have to be right. Listen, it took me a long time. And it's very difficult because my profession is a debating type of profession. It's an argumentative profession. So what I saw as just engaging in normal discussion, just debating issues or being argumentative, might not necessarily go down very well with the other person. So I took time to learn the other person. Other people don't appreciate somebody who talks a lot. And sometimes when you are in an argument, you don't necessarily have to win the argument all the time. And this you get, I suppose it comes with age, but yeah. Don't be the kind of person that is always looking for an excuse for a conflict. You're always looking to fight for one reason or the other. And this one, please don't do this one. Don't always be surfing the net for dating sites or pages online where you're checking out single people and all that. What message are you giving out? You're basically saying, I'm not happy with you and I'm looking elsewhere. Some people will say, look, you've not married me. I'm just looking. Oh, it's just a game. I just wanted to see whether I've still got it. Those things are not cool. What you're looking for, what you're surfing for, you will find it. And when you find it, you will cheat. And then, boom, you might have lost the right person. Serious sabotage. Next, are you the kind of person that works too much? You work too much. People often sabotage their relationship without being aware of this one, right? Because they say, if I work, I'm working for my family. And men are typically quite bad at this because they express their love by saying, if I bring a salary and my family is taken care of, then it's a demonstration of love. But you need a healthy balance on that, right? Some people work a lot because they've got something to prove, especially as females who are trying to make it. For example, in the corporate world, you try and, you want to step up the game and you want to be like this Wonder Woman, or you just working hard because there's even issues at home that you're trying to avoid. Check those kind of things. Those are typical telltale signs of sabotaging yourself. Always being super busy. That's the next one. You are super, super busy. So busy you don't even have time to call back. So busy, so you don't have time to have a proper bonding session. People who are always super busy, it's often a mechanism for them to hide away. They're running away from some kind of issue or the other. They don't want to deal with them, with their partners. Next one, are you the kind of person that is always repeating the same kind of patterns in relationships? So it's the same kind of pattern. Your partners and their behavior over a long term, they are similar. You find yourself nitpicking with a new partner. You nitpicked in the last one. You nitpicking in the next one. Look at your behavior. Look at yourself. Ask yourself, have I done this in the past? Often, sometimes you are the common denominator in all these relationships. You need to actually do an introspection and say, let me check myself. Maybe the issue is with me. The next one, you withhold sex as a way of some kind of power play. If you're going to withhold love or affection from your partner or sex, it's self-sabotage. I've gone to so many marriage seminars. I mean, I've heard people who are in long-term marriages will tell you, this is a no-go. You don't do that. No matter how upset you are, don't close the doors of Jerusalem. So, and this you may be doing deliberately because maybe you're angry with your partner. There's deeper issues that you want to get them to talk about. But if you're going to be withholding physical intimacy, you're sabotaging your relationship. And maybe you need to look deeper into the problem, what the problem is really about. Are you feeling like things are really not going well? When things are not going well, these acts of sabotage tend to show up very often, right? Oftentimes when you've had bad experiences in prior relationships, romantically or even family members wise, when things are going well, and you have this sense of feeling that I don't deserve it. It's, those kind of people that when things are going well, you're always looking out, there's something bad that is just about to happen. Something wrong is going to happen. So when things go well, embrace it. Expect the good to come out of it. Don't always be looking over your shoulder and say something bad is about to happen, because often you will end up in an undesirable self-sabotage scenario. Next one, we're almost getting there. We've got 10 more to go. You are super needy. Super needy. Yes, they are our covering. Yes, they are providers. But don't be so super needy that you cannot do anything for yourself. It's really a turn-off, I think, in this day and age. And we really need to look at it. It's human to be in need. You're sick, you want to be babied and all those things. But don't take it overboard. Because often you will push somebody so far they end up breaking. Sometimes people feel very insecure. Some people feel that nothing is ever enough. And they keep on pushing their partner to demonstrate that they are really going to be there. They're going to be a provider and all those things. And then it ends up being way too much for the other person. Next one, stop keeping in touch with your ex. Stop keeping in touch. I don't care whether you are friends or you are buddies and all those things. You're just playing with fire. There's going to be that moment of weakness. It's not cool. It's one thing that you send each other Christmas cards and say, hey, what's happening? Or you meet each other in the mall and you say, hey, good to see you. Stop keeping in touch, because you don't even want them to be thinking you've not moved on. Give way to your present one or your future one to find you. But if you keep on meddling in the past, it's another issue. Next one, you're afraid of conflict. You are afraid of conflict to the extent that you are afraid to express your feelings. You are hurt about something that maybe they have said to you, but you're afraid to say anything because you're not sure how they will react. And that is another area which you really need to look at so that you don't find yourself in an abusive relationship. Abuse does not only come physically, but are you being emotionally abused or mentally abused to the extent that you cannot even express yourself? You don't want to be in a scenario where communication has been shut down and you can't express yourself. Rather than saying to a person, you made me feel bad, maybe you need to use new language and that could be more effective in saying, I'm not comfortable with the comment that you made. Learn to speak to your partner. If you feel that there's a way you're going to express it at that moment that might not come across very well, wait until you can articulate things much better. And I know sometimes we're feeling very sensitive. We don't want to feel like we are criticizing the people. Change the statements a bit. Like the statement example that I just gave now, to say, instead of saying, you make me feel bad, I'm not laying the blame on you, but I'm saying, I'm not comfortable with this comment that you just made. It's still an open conversation that you can find yourself. All right? The person will feel less criticized, and they will feel that you have moved the conversation to your feelings. You're not making it their fault, but you have made it about a discussion on how you were made to feel. If you're the kind of person that avoids coming home, some people will just find an excuse to work late, to come back late and do whatever is unnecessary after work. Some people will find a need to go and do a hobby. You just find a way to just be at the gym for 5 hours, and then you want to come home and you're tired. You just want to just plonk out on the bed. Whether it's a hobby or a job that you're dedicated to or a friend that you hang out with and all those things, that is why your partner gets to hate your friends that you hang out with. Because it's not really your friends that are an issue, it's that you are running away from home. So let's check that. Next one, you feel ashamed. Sabotaging your relationship happens naturally when we have a lot of shame as individuals. When we think we are not worthy of our partners, for example, and deep down we think it won't work between us anyway. So we have to end it. We are shame. This shame has a way of just making you feel, oh, I don't deserve it. I don't believe that he even loves me. So we need to manage our shame, and we need to really work on them so that they don't spring out and, become a problem. If you the kind of person that is always venting about your partner constantly, a common way of self-sabotage is really where you talk to everyone about your partner. You're just complaining, like, my partner this, my partner this. Really, people have their own problems. People have their own problems. You might look like you are getting some sympathy when you keep on talking about your partner constantly like this. Take a chill pill. Spare us some, they don't want to hear about it. Your coach wants to hear about it. I might want to hear about it if I'm coaching you. But if you're confiding in your friends about the shortcomings of your partner, of your relationship, without speaking to that person directly, ask yourself, why are you doing that? That's just so not cool. Next one, you ignore your partner's stated boundaries. He has told you or she has told you, this I don't like, this I don't want, please don't do this. You ignore them because you think you're Superman or Superwoman that can just shove things on the side. When there's a defined boundary that you have been spoken to about or you have discussed, if you break it, sure way you are self-sabotaging. Because even if you apologize, if you continue to set yourself up to break up this boundary, it shows that you basically don't care so much about how your partner feels about that. You keep on doing the same mistake again and again and again. You will end up single. You stay mad for days. You just carry on. Just carry on. Look, find your sweet spot on how you deal with anger. I need to speak my anger. I need to rant and rave for a long time. And once I'm done, I'm done. Okay? But don't stay mad forever. You're mad at your partner for days, trying to punish them. It ain't going to end well. It will not end well. I've touched on this a little bit, but just for emphasis, you're always right. When you stay adamant about things, having to be always done in your way, your opinion is always the right one. You come across as if you like Miss Goody Two Shoes or Mr. Goody Two Shoes who knows better, and you're right all the time. That basically says you have no compassion and you have no willingness to be open to your partner's ideas or opinions. And that is a serious problem. Check yourself. You might be on the route to becoming single. And this one is very simple, and stop being on the internet all the time. You're addicted to the internet. You're addicted to social media. Those things are a turn off. They send a wrong message to your partner. You might have even met on social media, but it's not a cool thing. Nobody settles down with somebody who's addicted to social media. It ain't happening. When are you going to be raising a family if you're always on social media? When are you going to build an empire or a business when you're always chatting to people on WhatsApp and all that? It ain't cool. Technology is good, but don't spend so much time on it. I think we've lost the art of conversation and communication in relationships because of technology. You're always on the computer at work, and then you come home, you turn on more technology devices again. Your children are on devices as well. It ain't cool. These gadgets are just basically an endless distraction. If you don't want to interact with your partner, you're going to probably be doing those kind of things. So the last one, not letting yourself to receive love. If somebody says, I love you, receive that love. They could be giving you everything. They could be giving you, love, verbal affection, gifts, physical touch, you name it. But you don't take it in because you find an excuse. No, I'm not feeling well. No, I don't want. Or you're not appreciative of even the gift that they give you. How are you rejecting your love? How are you rejecting your partner, your spouse, in such a way that you have now come to the point where you are self-sabotaging the relationship? I wish that you find the true love. I wish that you exercise wisdom in your love affair in your marriage. And I hope that you have your forever happily ever after. Thank you so much for joining this broadcast once more. Please do share it. I do really appreciate you, and thank you for liking the page again once more. See you next time. Please do visit the page regularly. I do plan to have more content that we can engage in, and on Saturday evenings at 8 o'clock, it's always a live interaction, and you're welcome to even send your questions prior. And I do try to post the topic that I will be discussing on a Saturday as well. And I often also want to share with my speakers as well ahead of time so that they can address all the questions that you have. Thank you so much. God bless you, and do have an awesome evening, day, depending on where you are tuning in from. Thank you so much.